Kuumba, creativity, to do always as much as we can in the way that we can in order to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than we inherited. Kuumba, creativity. Today's excerpt will be from Smithsonian Magazine, dated February 2017, an article entitled "These 4 Black Women Inventors Reimagined the Technology of the Home." In 1888, a woman named Sarah Good applied for and was granted a patent in Chicago, Illinois. Good had just conceptualized the cabinet bed, a bed designed to fold out into a writing desk. A school teacher named Marion E. Benjamin was granted her patent by the District of Columbia in 1888 for something called the gong signal chair. Benjamin's chair allowed for its occupant to signal when service was needed through a crank that will simultaneously sound a gong and display a red signal. Think of it as the precursor to the call button on your airplane seat. Next was Sarah Boone, who received a U.S. government patent from the state of Connecticut for an important improvement on the ironing board in 1892. Boone's design made it possible to iron the inside and outside of slim sleeves and the curved waist of women's dresses. Ellen Elgin might be a completely unknown inventor if not for her testimony in an 1890 Washington, D.C. periodical called The Woman Inventor, devoted entirely to women inventors. Elgin invented a clothes wringer in 1888, which had great financial success, according to the writer. But Elgin did not personally reap the benefits because she sold the rights to an agent for $18. Disenfranchised groups often participated in science and technology outside of institutions. For women, that place was the home. Yet, although we utilize its many tools and amenities to make our lives easier and more comfortable, the home is not typically regarded as a hotbed of technological advancement. It lies outside our current understanding of technological change, and so, in turn, do women like Good, Benjamin, Boone, and Elgin, who sparked that change.
Habari Gani. Peace to everyone who's joining in right now. Today is the 6th day of Kwanzaa. So when I say Habari Gani, your answer should be, come on now, let's type it in the chat. It's a virtual world. Let's type it in the chat. Kuumba. Yes. Yes, Kuumba. Kuumba means creativity. And when I think about creativity, I think about imagination. I think about children. I think about the arts. I think about those who have been gravely affected during this pandemic, if you want to call it that, like myself, artists, right? I'm a jazz musician. I play drum set. I play a plethora of percussion instruments, and we've been affected gravely during this pandemic. We've had our work taken completely from us. Okay? So today we want to highlight a lot of artists. We want to highlight some dancers. We want to highlight some creative space makers. And we want to highlight some organizational leaders that propel the arts in our own communities. Okay, so I think you guys are going to really enjoy today's program. I curated this program myself. A lot of these are personal connections of mine, and I really hope that you're going to enjoy it. At the end of today's program, you're going to hear a performance by myself on drum set and my good friend Tyrone Allen. We recorded this piece live and direct from the Adinkra Studios here in Mount Rainier, which I'm recording this video from. And we look forward to you all, checking it out, sharing it with a friend or a family member or a colleague or maybe someone who isn't your friend, but they celebrate Kwanzaa, right? So after this, I'm going to turn it over to Mama Maisha. She's going to tell us more about our Kwanzaa setup, what's on our Kwanzaa tables, like a kinara, like the Mishuma Amisaba, stuff like that, okay? Now, we really hope that you guys are sharing and that you guys are tuning in to our live on Facebook and YouTube, okay? It's free. It's free. You can tune in, go to the bathroom, come back, tune in, check Instagram, come back, tune in, listen to a song, tune in, pour a drink, tune in, right? It's the holiday season. So we hope you guys join us, and we thank you from the bottom of our hearts here at the Adinkra Group for lending us your hearts and your energy during this very trying time. Peace to you, Mama Maisha.
Greetings, everyone, and Bargani. Welcome to Kwanzaa Forever. We're going to be discussing this lovely Kwanzaa setup that we have here. This is a traditional Kwanzaa setup, and you'll find that all Kwanzaa tables pretty much have the same elements. So we'll start with the first one, which is the mkeka. It's a straw mat upon which the kinara, which is the candle holder, sits. And inside the kinara, we have the mishuma saba, which are the 7 candles representing the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. And so the way that we light these candles is we start with umoja, which is the black candle in the middle on the first day of Kwanzaa. And then we go through all of the days, alternating between red and green, starting with the outermost candle and then moving in until we get to Imani, which is the last candle, which would be the green candle on the right. We also have our mazal. You'll notice we have a large basket of fruit. The mazal are the crops, and they represent the wealth of our community. We also, you'll see next to the mazal, have a kikombe cha umoja, which is the unity cup. Typically, the unity cup can be used to pour libation or share drink among family and community as part of a Kwanzaa celebration. Also, on a typical Kwanzaa table in a house with children, we would have the ears of corn, and the ears of corn would correspond to the number of children in the family. Because this is a general Kwanzaa setup, we have a table here. It's sort of a public space. We don't have any children who are in this particular household, but if we were in a home, we would have a corresponding number of ears of corn that would match the children in the household. And finally, we have the zawadi. The zawadi are the gifts. And typically gifts during Kwanzaa are homemade or handmade. As you can see, this little giraffe follows suit with that, or books and educational materials that will be given to our children and members of the family. So happy Kwanzaa, and we invite you to enjoy our program.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to our Kwanzaa Forever program. This is the sixth day of Kwanzaa, Kuumba, which means creativity, and we have some really cool stuff planned for you guys. I want to get ready to welcome up our first interviewee, our first guest. She's a phenomenal choreographer, dancer, and educator based out of New York City. I recently actually collaborated with her, with a good friend of mine, Emmanuel Wilkins, on a project entitled Waiting that was actually produced by the 92Y and the Jazz Gallery. So I want you all to give your warm virtual welcome to Sidra Bell.
Thank you for having me. It's so good to see you.
Great to see you too, Sidra. It's been maybe almost a month now, something like that.
Yeah, that week that we spent together just went by so quickly, and it was wonderful to be in space with you and Emmanuel and all the artists. But it seems like years ago now.
Yeah. Time is flying. So, before we get started on our questions, I just want you to give us just a snippet, a little bit of background information on you. So the people know who they're getting to listen to.
Well, born and raised in New York City to musician parents. My dad is a jazz musician, Dennis Bell, and my mom is a classical pianist. And they met through music, and I'm one of four, youngest of four. And when we were growing up, they just took us to everything. You know, we saw concerts, and my mom was involved in dance, and she took me to see all kinds of performance art. And when I was about 7.5 years old, she decided to enroll me at the Dance Theater Harlem, where I was a scholarship student for about 8 years. And then I went to the Ailey School for my high school years. And those were just really formative experiences, being in two such influential Black dance companies as a student, training under all these incredible, really trailblazers. It was such an important experience as a young dancer. For college, I actually went to Yale University. I kind of stepped away from rigorous training, and I got my degree in history, but dance never left my soul. Yeah. Yeah, it was, I wanted a more broad-based experience. There was the option of going to conservatory, but I just felt that I needed to sort of expand my wings. And but dance never left my heart and soul. So even at Yale University, I started actually producing and choreographing, and that was sort of where the seeds of Sidra Bell Dance New York, my company, came to fruition. And when I graduated from Yale University, I produced my first show in 2001. So the company has been around for almost 20 years now. Thank you. Yeah, it's been a journey.
Yeah.
It's been a journey, but we've had so much incredible. The journey has been filled with so many different avenues and things I never expected, from producing work in New York to touring to creating educational platforms and partnerships. So it's just it's been really wonderful building this nonprofit and to have it to continue to thrive.
That's awesome. Well, I've actually got to see the Sidra Bell Dance Company at work, and I know exactly how serious Sidra takes her choreography work, and how I love how she allows her dancers. I love how she allows their perspectives and their opinions to be voiced in dance and in the pieces that she does. So, just our first question I want to ask. I know 2020 has been a really tough year, but as artists, it's important for us to really create. And I want to know how you have facilitated support for the arts and artists, and or how have you kept your audience engaged in this new virtual space?
Yeah, we were kind of on a roll when COVID hit in March. We were supposed to be in Europe working on an interdisciplinary music piece with a director and a chorus. And there were all these exciting things in March that got canceled. And so we had to sort of regroup and think about how we wanted to structure the company so that we could keep work coming in for the dancers. So right away, I went into sort of facilitating mode. I was thinking about what grants I could apply for, emergency grants and creation grants, and how I could keep the nonprofit going. And luckily, I do a lot of educational work, so I continued to teach throughout the entire process of being in isolation via Zoom, working with universities and that kind of thing. And the company, we were able to procure enough seed funding to offer the dancers kind of a project by project format. And so we've worked on a digital film that premiered on a platform called Flatpak, and I was able to rehire a team of almost 10 people for that project. When you think about the interns and the cinematographers and the dancers themselves, and that premiered in December. And then the 92Y offered us the space, and Emmanuel and I had already been talking. So again, we just sort of regrouped and thought about how can we bring waiting, to film. I was also able to be commissioned by the New York City Ballet as the first African-American female to choreograph for that company. And I did a digital piece for them. So things just sort of assembled, and, they're just thinking creatively and not thinking so rigidly about having like a full-time situation, just thinking, well, what kinds of projects can I kind of carry through the entire kind of fall winter season. And it's been really fruitful. I think, the dancers feel invigorated by coming together, and we're thinking outside the box. We're thinking about, different modes of engaging our audience. And so far, I feel like people are excited to see like the directions we're going in interdisciplinary mediums and digital platforms, and also our educational programs keep thriving through these digital streams as well. So absolutely, I'm very proud of what we've done so far.
Yeah. I'm sitting here listening to these accomplishments, and it's crazy just how awesome. It's 2020 has been sort of a double-edged sword. We've had to one, stay in our homes, and two, kind of distance ourselves, or not kind of, but really distance ourselves from our counterparts. And depending on the type of work that you do as artists, that is really important for you to be in rooms with other artists and with other artists and creating. So I think it's definitely forced us to, one, almost perfect our craft at home, and then once that's done, when we're ready to take it to the stage, it's already, formed and compact and ready to go. That way, by the time it's time to do our virtual recording, if you do the recording 3 times, you have, pretty much 3 great takes. And
awesome. There's a certain kind of sweetness to it too. I mean, like having headspace, mental space has been really important for me at this particular point in my career. Like I was sort of rolling and going and, doing a lot of things and traveling, but the time has allowed me to kind of go back into the archives and dig and write and, just have a little bit more time to consider things and consider what kinds of things I actually want to be doing. Because I think a lot of times you're in survival mode as an artist. And I think now you can be really deliberate about the things that are worth doing. And from that, I think there's a kind of sweetness that comes when the thing is actually happening and you're in space. It's bringing, I've always tried to have a feeling of gratitude and abundance, but it's even more, sort of clear now.
Absolutely. That clarity, 2020 vision.
Yes.
So my next question is, what's next for you? What new projects do you have in the works? Maybe something coming out at the end of this month or the top of next quarter, or what's next for you?
Well, we're gonna do something, I think, on actually New Year's Eve. There's a singer, Malika.
Yes.
Her name's Malika. She's a really talented sort of neo soul singer, and we've been talking for many years about like what can we do, and she does a lot of sort of design work as well, and works with the breath of the heart. And when I was thinking about, again, that we're working a little bit more project-based and loosely, I was like, well, let's just, do a durational improvisation performance together on New Year's Eve with Malika. So it's going to happen, pretty quickly and spontaneously. But again, I'll be having the same dancers that were part of Waiting will be part of this durational event, I'm a believer in sort of some mysticism and sort of cleaning the slate. Actually, and the New Year is kind of an important time for me. Like there's certain rituals and traditions, and I think it'd be nice to really just dance together with the company and having this sort of vocal component. And then there's this more structural things. I'm doing a lot more teaching and commission work in the spring. For several universities. I'll be working on a new piece for New York City Ballet in the fall, stage work if everything with, the vaccine and theaters come back. I'll be working with them again, and hopefully waiting will also have a life. I think we're not totally done with that. That felt like a seed of something that could be on stage eventually. And yeah, I always am working on my own sort of small things, sort of templates and prototypes, and envisioning different like visual ideas. And so things are always rolling for me. I think for me, it's like in the moment to moment, and those lead to the bigger projects. Having these vision boards, just developing through drawing, writing, the teaching work I do. I'm always making movement, and this has sort of been my studio here. So I'm always moving in this space. So I think that's kind of the mantra, is just like keep moving.
Definitely. So, one, I want to make sure that our audience, again, thank you, Sidra, for joining us. I want to make sure that our audience is able to stay in contact with you. So how do we do just that? How do we keep in contact? Social medias, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, wherever your work lives the most. How do we keep in contact?
Day to day, it's Instagram. I think that's where you kind of get the mood boards, and I do a lot of the advertising for workshops. Our workshops are also intergenerational, so I want to encourage everyone to come. Even if you've never taken a dance class in your life, like, you can take class with me. That's something I really treasure, that it can be someone that's really experienced to someone that has never taken dance. So we advertise a lot of our workshops on Instagram and our performances, and then some of these sort of mood boards I've been describing appear there as inspiration. Sidra Bell Dance New York is the handle.
Got it.
And then if you want to do a deep dive, our website is www.sidrabelldanceNY.org. And that gives you a little bit more of a historical perspective of the company. We've been around since 2001, so we have a lot of archival stuff on the website. It's kind of cool to see.
Awesome. Yeah, I've been actually just doing a deep dive into what archival work is, and how pretty much in this day and age, all artists, that's all we do. That's pretty much, we create work to archive it. And even the archiving in itself, it's a practice, and it's something to get used to, like when to release something. And I wanted to make one more point before letting you go. I think that is really cool that you acknowledge that you have to clean the slate, before the new year. Most people do it like, I'll have a New Year's resolution, but you're adding movement to it. And I think adding movement to it as a dancer, as an artist, it really creates momentum. And then you doing that in a collaborative effort with Malika.
Malike, I'll type it in the
Malik. So Sidra has a project on New Year's Eve with Malike. I'm sure you can find it out on her Instagram. And I think that's really cool that you're using, momentum to kind of roll into the new year. It's really awesome.
Momentum, propulsion. There's just something about movement and music. Like, the motor just keeps going, and you, like you said, you honor your past, and you have. I'm a true believer in legacy too. Like, I'm carrying everyone with me, but there's also this sort of letting go, which is such a beautiful process. And I think dance has really taught me about that process of both honoring and also like keeping the breath wide and like taking in new things.
Wow. Yes. Yeah, definitely. So please, again, thank you, Sidra. Thank you.
Thank you.
Joining us here with our Kwanzaa Forever. This is our first annual Kwanzaa Forever program here at the Adinka Group. And I think our viewers are really going to enjoy the next upcoming interview. And also, I hope that they enjoyed this one. Thank you again, Sidra. Next up, we have a wonderful, wonderful guest, a brother of mine, a brother in music of mine. We worked together in New York City. We actually just released the album. It's his debut album entitled Omega. This is my good brother, my good friend, Emmanuel Wilkins. Welcome to the table. Welcome to the space, brother.
Thank you. Thank you.
Peace, man. So how you been, first of all?
I'm chilling. I'm at the crib.
Okay, word. Okay, dope. So how much snow do y'all have right now? That's my first question.
There's a fair amount. I mean, it's been a couple days. Has it been snowing there today for y'all?
Nah, 2 days ago it snowed.
Yeah. It was the same here. So I mean, it's cool. It's cool now. It's still a little slushy out, but it's still
okay, cool. So man, just give the people some background information. I mean, we know each other, but like, the folks that's watching this, they might not know you. So just give them some background information about who Emmanuel is.
Emmanuel is a saxophonist. I grew up in Philadelphia. I write music. I like to think I'm a performance artist in a lot of ways. Yeah, just a human.
Word. So he's being very modest. He graduated from Juilliard. He just released the album. Like I said, according to New York Times, or we've just released the album. According to New York Times, it's the #1 jazz album, I guess, in the country. And yeah, so I know it's crazy to be that young and have that much said about you, but this is Emmanuel, everybody. So our first question: how have you kept your audience engaged in this new virtual space?
That's actually a great question. Man, did we go through these questions before?
I'm sure we have, bro.
I don't remember this one. How do I keep my audience engaged? I think it's just been actually I was talking about this with somebody recently. It's been kind of a big emphasis on social media, since everything kind of got shut down. But I don't know. It's tough. I'm still trying to figure it out. It's definitely during this time, like we need more money. Like artists just need more money to make things happen. So a lot of what I've been searching for is funding to create like video work, to create things that can exist in someone's household without me being there, or without me being in the room. So we were talking about this, you do a lot of this stuff with like video work too. I think this since March, artists have naturally kind of had to lean into this self-entrepreneurial jack of all trades kind of situation where we're actually having our hands in every single aspect of the developmental process, which is not what we're used to, but
yeah,
it is definitely effective.
I even see that kind of jack of all trades thing, like how you see these different people, I guess, creating their own lane on different social platforms, right? So for example, I'm talking specifically about Clubhouse. Like just yesterday, we were listening to a 2-hour talk about Black cinema, right? And it's crazy how those same people on that platform, they produce work elsewhere on other platforms, but just having to navigate and create new works and just be creative on different platforms. And
that also makes me think about the idea of still the ratio of exclusivity to the work, how and this I see I see this in the Black cinema world, and I also see this in the Black fashion world. It's how when I think of brands like Grace Willis Bonner, designers like Grace Willis Bonner or Kirby John Raymond, who are kind of making these limited quantity drops. You know what I'm saying? Or somebody like Jatavia Gary, who's a filmmaker who just put out the Giverny document, and it was on YouTube for a month span, or Arthur J for putting out Love is the Messenger's Death, and that's only on view in gallery spaces. So the idea of exclusivity of the work. So we just did that project with the dancers, Waiting, and that was up for 72 hours on the 92nd Street Wise website. So that's been something that I think there's a sweet spot that I'm trying to find in terms of consumerism for exclusivity of the work, and that actually ascribes value to the work in a way that I don't know if I really agree with that as a artist, but as someone that studies how people consume music, that's totally valid. It's
and we just had Sidra on. That's crazy, and we talked a lot about Waiting. And to your point about, you know, the exclusivity and the limited amount of eyes that's actually going to be on your work. You know, essentially that's what you're saying, because we're in a time where we can't tour, we can't perform in open spaces, and quote unquote sell out to make sure that everybody goes home 4 p.m., 4 pockets full. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To make sure that happens, we got to limit our work.
Exactly.
It has to be done, and it's different for different genres or different artists. If you look at someone who makes quote unquote popular music or hip hop, rap, trap, whatever you want to call it, they could just keep releasing music streams, and then, you know, like kind of rake up on streams. And then they could also just continue to sign people, you know?
Exactly.
Continue just seeing how different it is during this time for different artists who create works in different capacities. But I definitely think that this year has made us realize, one, how much our work is worth, and two, that, you know, trying to exist in a space that isn't affected by capitalism is really almost impossible for us artists.
Indeed. Yep.
It's really almost, it's something that we kind of have to, you have to, one, learn how to work with, and then two, delve into writers and different entrepreneurs and different writers who talk about capitalism and how to use it for your people, or I guess, you know, how to steer it in a different way. I don't want to get too wrapped up on that one. Next, I want to know what do you have in the works, bro? Like, what's next? I mean, people assume that I already know, but I honestly don't. We work together all the time, but like, Emmanuel he'll call me like, yo, bro, I need you to record drums for the XYZ, and I'll be like, all right, yeah, I'll probably get it to you by Friday. Get it to him by Friday, and then be like, a month later, it's like, yo, can you come to Omaha to do this thing with, like, you know, graffiti artists? And it's like, oh, that was what that was for. So what's next for you?
Well, I mean, we got something coming up at Roulette Intermedium in Brooklyn. It's a great venue. They have a commissioning program.
When is that? When is that?
That's going to be March 27th.
Okay.
And that's a piece with my quartet, plus 3 dancers and someone cooking on stage. That's called Blues Blood Black Future.
Woo!
So that's coming up very soon. We're also going to be premiering the piece with the dancers waiting with Central Bell Dance New York in its entirety in 2021. So those are really the 2 main things I have coming up in the immediate future. Although there's some other things that exist only in my head so far.
So, okay, to kind of go on with that question, how is this new this time that we're in? How do you create? Like, you know, we have to, as artists, we've kind of had to amend our creative process. So how what is your new way of creating? Because automatically, you know, it's not going to be on stage. So how do I get this to, one, be clear in its entirety to the audience, and two, how do I make money from it? So how has your creative process changed over the course of 2020?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with trying to affect people in different ways that aren't compromising to my own artistic integrity. So that sometimes that means like trying to reimagine what the space means. Like, what does like, I don't know, like, what does a live concert really mean? And how can I bring like a live concert to someone that's not like I obviously, like, we can't be all in the same room listening to me on stage, but I also don't want to just do another year of me playing to a computer screen. So how can I actually like affect a room still, and still like have someone experience things in a room, you know, but still like obeying like some sort of COVID safe way of doing things. So that's something I've been thinking about. And I mean, I think just in general, like with the pandemic, artists especially have just been kind of forced, and everyone really has just been forced to kind of lean into the parameters that the pandemic gives us, you know. all that we do is always about process, you know. Our like, you know, the reason why your tunes sound the way they do is because of your specific process that you go through writing them, you know. Same with me, same with anyone else. If you look at any sort of work, it's always, the product is always a direct correlation to the process. And anything you affect the process with, it's going to drastically change the outcome of the product, you know. And so that's something I think about a lot in terms of like how I even write now, you know. When the pandemic started, I bought a bunch of like recording equipment so that, you know, because I figured I'd be recording from home more or less. And so that's become a part of my writing process, which it was never before. You know, before it was purely like me at the piano and I would just work it out, you know, and maybe record it on like voice memo or something. But now it's become like me tracking things, or, you know, and then like maybe tracking a part of it and then splicing it and looping certain things.
Right. Yeah, it's something that you think about automatically in the creative process now.
Exactly. And now by doing that, now my pieces feel like collages in some ways. You know, whereas beforehand that was never of access to me because I was never like having that tactile relationship with the music where I was like, I could say, all right, let me take this piece and let me move it over here.
Yeah, it's crazy that you say that. I'm literally sitting, and we talked about this, I'm literally sitting in our newly transformed, it used to be an art gallery, but we turned it into a pretty much virtual workstation space. A space where artists can come in, record, track, and even edit, mix and master their music. And then also it can be transformed into a workspace, a workplace station. So people who come, who need a place to you know, set up meetings. We have 2 COVID compliance officers right now. So when you come into the space, we already, you know, requiring that you have taken a COVID test 72 hours before. And I'm sure in 2021, we actually have some stuff coming up here with, you know, you and I and stuff, whatever. But just that point to having to recreate or reimagine works that come from us artists specifically for smaller spaces. Specifically for more intimate spaces, you know, like I said, for there to be less eyes on your work, and automatically that means that we're gonna have to charge more. But I think that, you know, the act of exclusivity really makes your work kind of worth more. It makes your work worth more. So I think that you know, I'm really excited for what's to come in 2021 for yourself. For us here at the Adinker Studios, and yeah, man, I look forward to just collaborating. I look forward to making collaboration too. I think that's a big part of a lesson in 2020. Like if you want to go, if you want to go fast, you got to go alone. But if you want to go far, you got to go together, right? It's literally what the essence of collaboration is. It's literally the essence. So yeah, man. I just want to wrap it up. So how do the viewers keep in touch with you, bro? How do we stay with you?
Yeah, social media is good. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Don't follow me on Twitter. YouTube.
No. Twitter is cool. Twitter is cool. It's
follow Quick Cool Summary on Twitter. Equation. So YouTube. My website is just EmmanuelWilkins EmmanuelWilkins.com. So
just spam emails.
My email is EmmanuelWilkins@gmail.com. If y'all want to just shoot me an email, don't shoot me an email either. Don't go on my Twitter. Don't shoot me an email. But everything else, follow me there. Apple Music, Spotify.
What's your Instagram?
Instagram is Emmanuel.Wilkins.
Okay, straightforward.
You know, just anywhere. I'm around.
Okay, man. Awesome, bro. Man, I really appreciate you for carving out the time out of your day.
I appreciate you.
I ain't doing nothing, but nah, he probably writing or something. We got so much work to do, bro. It's crazy. Indeed. So much work to do. So yeah, man. You know, look out for the piece, your new works with at Roulette, right? That's March
27th. Yep.
March 27th, and also the re-premiere of Waiting. With the Sidra Bell Dance Company.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you again, Emmanuel. I appreciate it, and have a blessed day, brother. Peace.
Thank you too. Peace, man.
All right, y'all. So our next guest is straight up family. We about to take it to Brooklyn now. I'm gonna bring up somebody who I look up to, somebody who took me under their wing when I first moved to New York. This is my uncle Osei. His name is Kofi Osei Williams. He is the chief executive officer of the Asasiya Entertainment Group and the founder of the Asasiya Cultural Arts Foundation, based in Brooklyn, New York. Please put your hands together and give a wonderful, warm virtual round of applause for brother Osei Williams.
Peace. How you doing, bro?
I'm good. Just, working.
Thank you for having me on this. Yeah. So
thank you for joining us. So, just give the people a little bit of background information about who you are and what it is that you do.
All right. So I'm Kofi Osei Williams, and for a long time, it was mostly just drumming that I was following. And through drumming, that took me to different places in the world. And coming back to New York, Brooklyn in particular, I realized that we had some voids that we needed to really handle, and issues that we needed to handle in our community. And from drumming and being with dancers and people in theater and visual artists, I knew that we could reach people easily through the arts. And through our creativity, it helps people to get to other spaces. So what I do, I call myself a facilitator. I like to get people in the room or get people in the space or on a video together or whatever it is to make a change, to make some kind of change.
Yeah, that's crazy that you put it like that. In one of the other interviews we were talking about what it is to really create in this new space that we have, especially in 2020 with everything being virtual. But I feel like, being around you and spending the amount of time that I have with you, I've seen you just be a facilitator, like you said, but a creative space maker. It's a term that a lot of entrepreneurs are using now, but I think that the work that you do is that in its essence. Like, you literally create space for creatives to excel in, and then for young creatives, bringing in terms of the Asasiya School of Arts, bringing young creatives up and them able to being able to excel in those spaces as well. So I think you hit it right on the nose with being a facilitator. So I know 2020 has been crazy for everybody, but I think it's been a blessing in disguise for a lot of people. And we talked about this a little bit, but can you just update us and let us know how you all have been able to keep your audience engaged this year, especially with this new virtual space?
So in the very beginning of 2020, January, February, in the first half of March, man, 2020 was I was such on a climb. Like, the mountain that we was climbing was amazing, right? COVID hit. So it slowed us down for maybe, let me say, a month and a half. But what I learned in that month and a half is that I had a lot of cleaning up to do as far as the business aspect of what we do. Not just Asasiya, the other businesses that we run too that also deal with just African culture, traditions. Everything that we do has to deal with people understanding the beauty of Africa, right? So get to April and we just start cleaning up. And what we realized, because we still had contracts in schools and things like that, but we realized that the children were being forgotten completely, right? So instead of us saying, look at me, we're like, let's look at our children. So we started a campaign, and that campaign was to hire children, youth, artists to have jobs over the summer. Because the city said, we're not giving y'all no money.
Right.
And so we took it on our own, like, nah, we're going to reach out to the community, and we're going to make sure that these kids have jobs over the summer, right? And we did that. It was successful, right? And then next, we need to stop because my bell rang.
No, you good. You good.
So next, after the city did that, then the next level was we was like, what else is going on in this world that we need to keep going? So then we did the End SARS campaign, which was another, major milestone, because it's not just about End SARS, it's also about police brutality. It's about here in America, I'm saying, it's about all of the things that's happening. And then, we put a lottery together for people to be able to pool money together so we could give some of our people some money. That wasn't as successful as we wanted it to be, but it's the thought. And we put out the money, the marketing, the public relations, like all of the different things. Like, we started to put it together. But now we just finished where we worked with you and Emmanuel on this Kwanzaa piece. And this was something that I really had like to focus on, because I was like, this is serious. This is a way that, like, I'm looking at all of these great talents out here that don't have a platform all the time. People telling them, oh, we don't have nothing, we don't have nothing, we don't have nothing. No,
especially now, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They like, come do this for free, come do that for free, but you just building their businesses. So I was like, yo, let's do this. So I didn't want to get the money, and the budget wasn't crazy, but that doesn't matter. But if you start naming out bigger names, people, they start finding money. Mm-hmm. But I was like, forget that. I'm trying to get the cats that I know is the cats. So the fly thing is, right after y'all did your shooting, then I see the New York Times article where y'all get the #1 jazz.
Yeah, and just to debrief the audience, brother Kofi is talking about Asasayat and forgive me, I'm blanking on the name. Weeksville Heritage Center collaborating. We talked about collaboration a little bit earlier in one of our other interviews, but they collaborated and created a virtual Kwanzaa festival, a virtual Kwanzaa event. It was almost like a day full of performances. They brought together the Emmanuel Wilkins Trio, who I performed with. They had Brother Kudo NYC, a dope MC, Asasaya Children's Group, and a couple of other people. Oh, a Zulu Soul, he did a premiere, an art show premiere.
Yeah, United Marching Band.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had Oshun, another dope young group from your neck of the woods.
Oh, yep. Yambi and Tandi from down here, Oshun. And he really took the essence of collaboration and put it together and was like, yo, I'm going to produce this Kwanzaa show and I'm going to put it out in a way where it's almost like an award show. It felt like an award show, like you were watching an award show, especially with the MC going around and introducing each new different artist and stuff like that. So I just wanted to debrief the audience on what we were talking about. And it was a super dope experience.
And the big thing with that, when you look at it, people sometimes they look at African culture as something that's not developed or something that's not clean or something that's made up. So I wanted to get original people in. I wanted to get people that are making original things. If it's hip hop from Kudo NYC, or if it's hip hop soul from Oshun, if it's jazz from Emmanuel Wilkins Trio. But then the dopeness is that we have Zulu Soul that did the visual arts, right? But that's showing the beauty of African culture. It's showing the strength, it's showing the dignity, it's showing the pride so much. But then also we had Harriet by Hakima do a whole fashion show, and that's another thing that's just showing the creative beauty, just all of the things that we don't always have the platform for. Because I don't usually turn on the TV and see a bunch of black models modeling for 2 black designers.
Right, you don't see that, yeah.
In a show that has principles set for us, and everybody on there is doing their own creative black thing. You understand? We have Forces of Nature, a huge company out here, like. You know what I mean? All of these things that you see, right, is all with intent. You understand?
Yeah.
So we do it with intent, because we know that we have to focus our audience in, right? So you ask, how do we keep our audience? We're not trying to look for our audience to look at us, but we're trying to solve problems that are out here. And this is and if people understand this, this is a visual problem that we have out here about our people. That I said, if you put me in a producer seat, this is how I'm gonna produce. And our people gonna look fly. They're gonna look clean. They're gonna look together. They're gonna look talented. Everything about them is gonna be special.
Wow. Yeah. So not just trying to, I guess, how do you put it? Show something to your audience and be like, oh, hey, look, we're doing something over here, but really providing solutions for your said audience and also the artists that are in that community. That's dope. That's dope. Next, I want to know what's next for Asasaya? What's next for you guys in New York?
So we have a major milestone coming up in 2021. It's our 20th anniversary, right? And for us, that's major. Even in this year alone, so many companies had to go underwater, because no real funding, no real backing, no projects to produce, is nothing really happening. So it's difficult in that way. But in a larger way, it's our 20th anniversary. So we're doing a 20th anniversary documentary. We're gonna have a Sasaya and Friends show. If you remember, since you was young, we did the Jim Band New Millennium show that Khan has been a part of, and the Dinkra Group has been a part of, almost since the inception of it, right? And so we're gonna have another show like that where we bring in our friends, our people that has been more than just friends, but family. Motivation has been, the people that we look to build our community. So we're doing that. And then there's another thing, Kwaku, you know me, I start thinking out the box.
Yeah. I know, man.
We're doing a drive-in concert, bro.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? We're doing a drive-in, build a stage.
Mm-hmm.
People gonna drive in like how they do in the movies, and we doing a drive-in concert. And I'm sure with how times is now, I'm saying this out loud like this because other people could do it whatever they at. You know what I mean? Wherever they at. But just know, you heard it. We doing a drive-in concert this summer in honor of Asasaya's 20th anniversary.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And the last thing that we're doing is we're doing a major campaign to buy a building, which is really, really important to me. And it started some years ago, is that I realized that we don't have a theater here in New York that's dedicated to people of African descent.
Right.
Asasaya.
There was a theater in Brooklyn. Like, this is a while ago. This is from, just us having conversations. But I feel like you told me there was a theater in Brooklyn. What was the name of the theater?
Yeah, we used to have the Slave Theater out here. The Billie Holiday Theater is another one that they're still running, but they're running how they do, and I give all props to Billie Holiday Theater. Also, the Paul Robeson Theater was another theater. But we need a theater that African dance companies could go to and book at affordable rates. Jazz groups could go to and book at affordable rates. Theater companies could go to and book at affordable rates. We need that. And we are taking on the task of doing that. So we're going to be reaching out to hopefully everybody that's even watching this. Like, we need your contributions. And within those contributions, that when you contribute to something that's worthwhile, you get so much more out of it. So that's the last biggest thing that we're starting for our 20th anniversary. And hopefully by our 23rd anniversary, we will be up and running, and people will see where their contributions went and see how this changes our community to be bigger, better, more creative, and more self-sufficient.
Absolutely, and all those things that you just listed are pretty much essential and are part of the seven principles. You know, the seven principles, and I think just going back to Kuumba, how we can really leverage our creative minds, we can really leverage our imagination to really do and touch who we want to touch. You know, so I want to just thank you. I thank you on and off the camera all the time. You know, people really don't know. Like when I came to New York, my pops literally dropped me off right at your house. It's like, you gonna live here. Whatever old say is good for you. I trust his words. So you know,
you're wrong. So
yep, absolutely not. So I just want to give a big shout out to Kofi Osei Williams and his family and the Sasiya family, and also his brother Yawa Babio, who is the artistic director of Asasiya Dance Theater. Next, we're about to wrap up. I just want to make sure the viewers can stay in touch with you guys. So just, you know, if you could list off your socials, where you guys are, where your work lives online. Let us know how to watch the Weeksville joint too. Let us know how to watch that.
Okay. So you can go to asaseyaent.org. That's ASASEYAAENT.org. That's our website. You could go there. You can also go to our Instagram. That's at Asaseya, ASASEYAA. You could go to our Facebook, Asaseya Culture. Go to our YouTube, Asaseya ENT. Our Twitter, Asaseya ENT. And you can hit us up. Anytime you're in New York, you can email us, info@asaseyaent.org. Again, that's info@asaseyaent.org. And you could just, you know, you can reach out to us at any time. You know, we are ready to collaborate with all of our brothers and sisters out there. We are ready to, you know, really see a change come and make it happen. Good looking to my big brothers, Diallo and Mahiri and Kweku. Man, thank you, man, for doing a great job with this.
No problem. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for carving out the time in your day. I know you're busy. So yeah, thank you. Yep. Shout out to Nana Kwame. He just had a birthday. Kofi Williams, his eldest son, has a birthday today. So shout out to him.
Good. All right, man.
All right, peace. Thank you.
Peace.
Thank you for sticking around. We're going to jump into our next interview. This is a really good friend of mine. We met while we were in New York. She's actually from Chicago, but we met while we were at the New School. She was at Parsons School of Design. I was at the New School for Jazz and Contemporary Music at the College of Performing Arts. This is my good friend, Mia, okay? So Mia is a Brooklyn-based designer and illustrator. You probably have seen her work. She's collaborated with the likes of Foot Locker, Ulta Beauty, Twitter, Adult Swim, and The Atlantic, to name a few. Mia is also a proud business owner. She is the founder of Rememory Directory, which is a growing directory of Black women and non-binary creatives, okay? So she's not only an artist herself, but she decided that it was important to create opportunities for artists that look like her, okay? So I'm gonna bring up Mia Coleman. Peace, Mia.
Hi, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. We are in the last stretch of this hell of a year. So I'm just kind of taking it all in. So Mia, how have you, specifically this year in 2020, how have you facilitated support to the arts and artists?
So this year, well, actually started in like 2018. I started a directory called Rememory. And the point of it was to provide visibility, but beyond visibility, like actual tangible opportunities. So like jobs and big gigs, whether they be part-time, full-time, or, you know, commission-based opportunities to Black women creatives. So as I started as a college student at Parsons, this year it really blew up because suddenly these brands were realizing that, like, oh God, like we should definitely be like uplifting Black and brown people. And my directory was one of many platforms that that became really useful in keeping Black people afloat during the pandemic, as far as creative work goes. And it's been my, like, beyond a passion project, like it's been something that is like a part of me because I started it as a young creative, and I made it my mission to have other creatives from, college level to super experienced, advanced talent on the platform.
Yeah. I definitely know what it feels like to be an artist and not have eyes on your work.
Mm-hmm.
It brings me such joy to see you doing just that for, young Black creatives, specifically young women, who may not necessarily have access to the channels that you have access to when you go to an art school, or if born in the right family. So
Mm-hmm.
it's super, super, super inspiring to see you do this work. To kind of touch a little bit more specifically to you and your work as an artist, I want to know how you've kept your audiences engaged during this new virtual space that we're in.
So for me, I was never one to care too much about social media, but this year we're all stuck at home. Like, the way we really have been connected is online. So for me, I have to use Instagram, Twitter, Zoom, Google Hangout. Like, that's how I'm keeping in touch with people. And through my directory, I'm, quarterly having submissions open. So I'm having people engage that way. They submit their work and their interests. And that's how I've been, staying in touch with people.
Okay. That's cool. Like, you're actually able to stay in touch with people while still building your brand and still building your baby and still raising your baby. When I say baby, I'm talking about memory directory. But while still raising, your child. And that's a really cool thing to be able to do. That's really super dope. Next, I wanted to know, how Rememory started. Like, take us through, the birthing process of Rememory. I think I probably had my own perspective on your work, just seeing you in the lab at the new school, working day in and day out. Like, well, let me say night in and night out, because you night out, you weren't really there during the daytime. Like,
That's
it was like,
Parsons is a bunch of all-nighters.
right.
Yeah. So this started like senior year. I knew that my thesis project was gonna be focused on Black women. And in the beginning, I wanted to just focus on Black women photographers, because I, as a part of the first semester, was all about research, and I was drawn to the Black woman's gaze in art, in visual art specifically. And I came across works from like Deborah Willis, and she really had incredible the common ways that we are seen in the media. Am I back? Okay. Did you mute? I can't.
Yes, you are back. Yes.
So I came across, can you hear me right now?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So where should I start over from? I'll just start from the very beginning.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. The beginning is fine. The beginning is fine.
Yeah. So this began my senior year at Parsons. I was working on my thesis project, and I knew I wanted the project to be focused on Black women's perspectives in the visual arts. And originally, I was just going to focus on Black women photography. I had an idea for this archival app of Black women's photography from the past and present. And in the research, I read Toni Morrison, I read Deborah Willis, and I loved Deborah Willis's insight. She's a director of the photography program at NYU. She's also like a MacArthur genius, and really, oh, and she's also Hank Willis Thomas's mother. Really dope Black woman photographer. And her insight on the Black woman's gaze is that, what'd you say?
I said accomplishment after accomplishment.
Sorry, I didn't hear. Yes, really incredible woman.
Yeah.
Yeah. And her perspective on the Black woman's gaze is that typically when we're perceived in not just photography, but in fine art or digital art, whatever, we fall into these like same stereotypical categories. And I wanted to, I didn't know what my thesis would be at the time, but I wanted to focus on something that let us tell our own narratives. And in a way, by us doing that, we're rewriting history and we're redefining who we are in the present and the future. And then when I was, also reading Tony, I read this book, Beloved, and I came across the word rememory. And that word was just awesome to me because it's about like recollecting the past, remembering the past, and honoring like the present and the future. It was just a beautiful gift that Toni Morrison gave us. And that became initially like the name of the app. And then I decided it didn't have to be an app. It can be a website that is available to everyone. And it doesn't just have to be photography, because there are Black creatives in every creative industry who need visibility, who have done incredible work when it comes to telling our narratives. And that's how Rememory was born. So I made a website and I had open submissions. So pretty much anyone who was interested was and is allowed to be a part of it. And it's a few similar projects out there, but none of them were specifically for Black. There's a lot of similar projects out there, but none of them were specifically for Black women or non-binary people. And definitely, when Black people were on any of these like creative directory platforms, they were only like the CEO of this Google, Twitter directory here. Like it felt too elite, So I wanted even the playing field and be like, no, like I'm a college student. My work is still valid because my story is real. Like, it's not only valid when it's coming from some, high up person. So I made sure that a part of the directory was college students, who are just getting their feet wet. And then there's super experienced creatives who have been doing this for 20 years, And yeah, so that was 2019. And then 2020, crews are not able to. So 2020 came, and then a lot of people weren't able to get work the way they normally do. And all of these brands, around mid 2020 over the summer, after the protest.
Yep.
June was the switch for all of us.
Like 30th, I think it was. I got a notification on my phone, after the tragic killing of George Floyd, and everybody was like, "Oh, you have to do."
It's like it's crazy because it's stuff that obviously, like me and you, like we've had these conversations before, like about police brutality and all of that. And when the time we started at New School was the height of Black Lives Matter. And it's not something that ever left our minds. But this year, the rest of the world was like, oh, wow, we have a real problem. And it's not the same racism that kills George Floyd infiltrates every other aspect of society. So it's corporate spaces, it's film industry, it's creative industry, it's everything. So this, I don't know, reawakening, whatever we want to call it, became the perfect opportunity for memory, because all of a sudden people are like, oh, we need to hire Black women. And here I have a whole website of like over 200 talented, crazy talented people who have already been dope. They just needed the opportunity. I think the work that's come out this year that's let all people know that Black people have always been talented. Y'all just had the doors closed to us, But the work has been done and the talent has been there, you know. How
Hold on, let me let it load real quick. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
So, okay. So yeah, like you touched on a lot there, and literally, I feel like you are doing like your work is full circle, you know, especially this year. And I want to take the time to explain it. This year, I feel like, from my perspective, Black women took the took this quote unquote struggle, took the movement, whatever movement we want to call it, the Black Lives Matter movement, even dating back to the Black Power movement. You all took the movement and put it on your shoulders, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I love the fact that you've dedicated you dedicated your thesis before 2020. You dedicated your thesis to making opportunities for Black creatives, specifically non-binary and Black women. And I think that it really shows to tell how, one, as an artist, you are kind of ahead of the game, because your work is going to live on forever. You know, your work is going to live on forever because you literally have identified an issue that's been ever so present in the fabric of America, right? Like, we want to talk about America and its relationship to the Black woman, and how, you know, the Black woman has literally breastfed America from
Mm-hmm.
its inception almost. And it's like, damn, wow. But what has America done for the Black woman? What has
Yeah.
what have we done for? And when I say America, I'm talking about everybody. I'm talking about Black Americans. I'm talking about repatriated Africans who wanted to move to America. I'm talking about people from Europe. I'm talking about people from everywhere. What have you done, or what have you given back to, you know, the Black woman that's literally breastfed this country? And I think that your work is like almost like an answer, or like it's very solution based for me. And it's very inspiring. I wanted to ask,
Thank you.
no problem, no problem. I wanted to ask, well, is Toni your favorite author? Is she your favorite writer?
Definitely. I think like in some point every Black girl has been given like Maya Angelou or Toni Morrison by their mother. And you know, you're introduced to those texts like as a kid, but when you start reading it like in your teens and 20s, it always hits different. And Toni definitely, like, after Beloved, I read Tula, Song of Solomon. I haven't read Song of Solomon yet. But like revisiting her text is
I'm gonna let it load.
okay. You want to ask a question again?
Yeah, yes, I got most of that, but I'll ask the question again. Yes. So,
Okay.
so I'm guessing Toni is your favorite writer?
Toni is definitely one of my favorites. I think Toni Morrison and like Maya Angelou are the few Black women writers I was introduced to, and I've been revisiting their work like as an adult, and Toni really resonates.
Oh, for sure. Toni's definitely one of my favorite writers too. It probably number one. I feel like everybody who was around the same age maybe started reading her work at the same time or around the same time. I started getting into Toni a lot at the end of 2018, and I just couldn't stop. I actually started with Home, and then I went to Beloved, and I went to then I went to Sula, then I went to Song of Solomon, and then I went back to Beloved, and then went back to Song of Solomon. I think, and Toni says, if you're not rereading, you're not really reading, you know?
Exactly.
That's like one of my favorite quotes, and I put it to everything. If I'm not revisiting something, I haven't really visited it at all. Or I'm not really, I haven't gotten the most out of the experience, right?
Right, you're not really taking the time to unpack it.
Yeah.
And Toni's work is so layered that there's no way you could get it on the first pass.
Oh, no.
Yeah, like because I've read Beloved before in high school, but I don't even recall like that word or memory sticking with me like that. But as an adult, I was like, damn, this is like her mind. She really was like on a different plane. I'm just like very appreciative of how she dedicated her life's work to telling Black stories, mainly Black women's stories.
Right.
But again, similar to like my platform, regardless of the white gaze, it's about how we see ourselves, how we see our stories, and how we want our future selves to be defined by society.
Absolutely. I feel like we could talk about Tony for like another 2 hours or probably more. But I want our viewers to know what's up next for you, right? So we talked about remembering, and I want to know what's coming for Mia Coleman. What do you have to offer for us soon, or not even soon, just in the future?
So honestly, my main plans for the future are doing some very serious some planning. Like I want remembering to grow, and I also want my own creativity to expand. I mainly do illustration. I dabble in animation, and I want to get back to animation. This year, I worked with Adult Swim for the first time, assisting one of my good friends, who's also a Black woman animator. And I loved, like, it just felt like such a blessing to work with that very early in my career, to work with Adult Swim. And I'm taking it as a sign, like, okay, I don't have to put that to the back burner, as a side talent. Like, I want to delve into that some more, and of course, get better at illustration, and just overall, next year, I just want to stay a student and learn how to better serve my community through memory, serve myself creatively, and just find my creative identity, because I'm still a young artist myself.
Yeah, definitely. So that's always, or at least some of my, I don't like to use the word mentor, but with some of my, I guess, call them like forefathers and mothers, like people who come before me in my lane. They always tell me, when you still find opportunities to learn, that's you literally kind of pulled the beauty out of the art. Like when you're still learning, even at your highest, when you're still able to sit in the student chair and and really pull from a lesson from somebody, it's you still have more to go. And I think it sounds like to me that maybe you want to travel a little bit. Like if you want to, like maybe you want to travel. Like I feel like travel for an artist opens new doors, new forms of creativity.
For sure, for sure. I'm down with traveling to other countries where there are Black people
Right.
and learning from those creative communities abroad. For me, like traveling and meeting Black folks who like look like me, and even maybe eat similar foods, but like speak a different language and have a totally different way of life, is always really eye-opening, and it's always refreshing to hear the different ways people define their Blackness. Because we really are not, we have similarities, some universal similarities, but we're not all exactly the same. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And I would love to like actually incorporate that in my art, because like in New York, I meet all kinds of people, but it's not fully reflective, like all the different Black cultures. And I would love to like pull on some of that through my work.
Okay. Wow. Well, hopefully here at the Adinka Group, we can help with that. We have business in Ghana. Our CEO is actually in Ghana. He happens to just be my dad. He's based in West Africa, Ghana right now. So I've been taking calls at like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. from him because they're 6 hours ahead. So hopefully, within the near future, we could definitely do some collaborative work in on the continent. And lastly, I want to make sure that our audience and our viewers are able to stay in touch with you. How do we stay in touch with Mia?
All right. So first and foremost, y'all gotta follow Rememory. The handle is on Instagram, and it's just rememory.directory. we're just on Instagram at the moment. Newsletter coming soon. And then my personal socials are Mia. It's MEEAHMIA.
Nah, we gotta clap it up for that. That was an amazing round of interviews, right? An amazing round of interviews. Shout out to Mia Coleman. Shout out to the Rememory Directory. Shout out to my boy Emmanuel Wilkins. He just had an album drop. It's #1 according to the New York Times. Man, we really doing amazing stuff out here, you know, despite the fact that we're in the middle of a pandemic. So we really wanted to highlight artists like Mia, artists and artist organization leaders like Osei, Nana Osei, Kofi Osei Williams. We wanted to highlight these people like Sidra Bell, okay? And my homeboy Tyrone Allen. Shout out to Tyrone. Thank you for coming in and playing the bass. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that performance, right? Okay, so tomorrow is the last day of Kwanzaa, which is Imani. Yep, Imani means faith. So we're gonna have a panel discussion tomorrow with some not only religious leaders, but some spiritual leaders, some people who are gonna keep our mental health intact during these trying times. And we hope that you guys tune in, okay? So don't forget, share, like, and subscribe on YouTube, and then share. You know, maybe you can add a comment when you share it on Facebook, but just share, okay? It's free. It's free. This is an offering from us, the Adinka Group, to you. All right? Peace.